Hey guys, Ryan Gill here with Hunt Primitive. Thanks for joining for another Flintknapping Friday. I had a pretty good idea what we were going to make this week. As you'll watch here in a few minutes, I wasn't exactly sure, but I had something kind of rolling around in my mind. And we decided to put this together, which is a Mahogany Obsidian Ulu. And now, we're not going to show doing the whole handle and everything, but it's pretty simple, and I explain the process a little bit later on also. But basically, we're just channeling out the stick, filling it with pine pitch glue, and then setting in the blade. So pretty easy, kind of self-explanatory, but really pretty excited with the way that this turned out. And I think I'm going to put this, I'll put this one on the website. I may start making these if folks like them. You can kind of drop me a comment down there in the old comment section and see if this is something that you would be interested in. But I think it'd be a great skinning tool that takes away any of the torque that would be on, say, like a handle back here on a knife blade. And by holding it up here, I think you're going to have a lot of purchase between the handle and the blade, so you're going to have a lot less coming apart in the haft. But anyway, let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in having on the website. This one in particular, I think I'm going to put on the website under the collectible area for some of the stuff that I make during Flintknapping Friday. So if you want it, at least while it's still on the website, you can pick it up. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the build. Hey folks, Ryan Gill here with Hunt Primitive, where we entertain, educate, and inspire. And this is our new series, Flintknapping Friday, where we're working hard to get you where you want to be in your own flintknapping journey. We're going to be breaking different rocks into different styles of points and blades and using different tools for those different jobs. And so there's going to be something for everybody and something different in every single episode. The very last thing I want to mention before we start on the project is, if this is your first time with the channel or your first time flint napping, before you watch this video, I highly recommend the Flint Napping for Beginners video, which I'll link down in the description. Alright, so at this point, you already know what I'm going to make because I do the intro for it after I made it. But I got a big piece of Mahogany Obsidian here, and I don't exactly know what I'm going to make yet. You know, because you saw it, but I don't know now. So, I have an idea what I'm up to, and we'll see if that kind of works out. Big paleo blade, but kind of leaning towards, call it, see if it works out, kind of like an Ulu knife. I don't know though. I mean, that's really what I'm kind of going for. Is I can kind of make whatever, but I don't know. I'll just envision it when I see it. But I'm not thinking about like the crescent style and then hafting it. I'm thinking more like wider, you know, maybe this size or whatever. This size or whatever, like a paleo, like a leaf, more or less, and then hafting that into a curved piece of wood. I don't know. I'm a little undecided. Might even just go with a half moon shaped blade, and then half that into a stick of some sort. But and kind of just like that somewhat stone Ulu design. So that's what I'm looking for. I just don't know if it's going to be beveled or if it's going to be flat, not beveled, crescented, or if it's going to be flat across the back. I guess that's not that important. We'll get there when we get there, won't we? Save that little piece. And running the copper today. I think I've been doing more videos lately with the antler. That's a nice little arrowhead flake there. We'll save that one. Been doing quite a few videos with the antler for Flintknapping Friday, so I want to make sure that I get enough for the copper folks too. There's probably a little arrowhead to chip out of that. There we go. Plus, unless you haven't figured that out, what I typically do is I film my Flintknapping Fridays on Thursday, but a lot of times, like today, I'm filming I don't know, probably 4 or 5 of these episodes. And I try to take a day like a Thursday when the house is just typically pretty quiet. And I'll do as many films as I can. At least until I get tired. Oh man. I need to organize better because I'm starting to get lots of flakes over there from today. So I'm starting to work on, I think this is video number 4 that I've actually filmed today. So that's why I'm also kind of happy enough to use copper, because it's going to go a little easier and a little less wear and tear on joints. Not that Obsidian's terribly hard to knap, but I'm pretty sure when I did that Clovis, or that Caribou Clovis kind of point, I did that with stone tools. So if I'm going to knap Obsidian this time, I might as well use the copper. Alright. And what I think, I'm just kind of going around knocking off loose edges. I dull this thing up so I don't cut my hand all up. And if I remember to show you later, I will. I've actually got bison ribs just slow cooking on the grill just about all day. So I just put a couple coals down the bottom, and I just keep dropping little pieces of hickory wood in there and just letting it smolder and smoke. I don't have a proper smoker. I should get one, but I've just been doing it on the grill so long. That's how I've been doing that. So I'm looking forward to that for dinner. So we cut the big chunks of ribs. Instead of like sawing them, we actually took entire ribs and then cut sections out with our stone tools. We did that. It wasn't in the Clovis documentary. We did it there too, but these ribs are from when I shot the one with the bow and arrow last year, and then Jason and Joe came and helped me bust it up, and Jason was peeling the ribs back and cutting them out with a stone knife. And that's I think the exact same set that he was doing is the exact set that I'm eating today. They've been in the freezer long enough, and it seems silly that I haven't been cooking these ribs, so I've been cooking ribs about once a week now. A lot of ribs on a bison. Alright, so there we go. Keep saving all those little arrowhead flakes that come off of these big spalls. Another one right there. Lots of arrowheads. And then you'll notice too, I make sure I really clean my knapping pad off, because that's a good way to just get all kinds of obsidian up in your fingers. And that's too, I'm assuming you know what that is by now, but I've really grown a liking to that because I don't drop my pad on the floor anymore, and it's because that's my bag. Remember we talked about that, and in another video too, put all my tools in my rock so if I travel anywhere, but it's also, then it turns into my knapping pad, and then the flap is the flap to dump all the stuff. So I've really grown accustomed to using that. I use it for pretty much everything now. All my knapping. A lot less bending down to pick up my drop pad that keeps sliding off my leg. Typically, I don't have much to do with this one except just rearrange it once in a while. Another little flake. Alright, so now we're getting close enough where I can start giving some instruction, but of course try not to break absolutely everything down in the instruction, because that's what the Flintknapping for Beginners video is for, but I always like to at least stop and remind everybody what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, because I think you'd rather look at the piece and then me explain to you what I'm doing, because you're here to learn probably more so than just watch me knap, right? So you can see my center line. I always have to talk about a center line. I would need to remove this, and it gets concave into here. So if you've heard me talk about that plenty of times before, if I run flakes too hard into here, which I'm going to have to run flakes in here sometime, they're going to step fracture. And so whenever I set these platforms up instead, and this is, I guess this is a great teaching time, normally, remember, I remove a ton of material to raise the platform so I can drive across. Well, if I raise that platform, it's just going to dig into this further. So where I'm at right now, as you can see, my platform is right on like the actual center line. So it's not pushed over to the platform side that I want to remove off of. And that's actually good, because remember, the further you move the platform, the further the flakes. Since we can't have, the flakes aren't going to go all the way across, they're going to stop in here and step fracture, we actually want the platform to be at center and possibly even up on this side past center to make up for the fact that we're driving into that concave section. So that worked out really good there, okay? I don't know, somewhere in there, stuff sharp. Here we go. So that's where I hit, and see how it feathered right out into that? So as opposed to coming in, digging really deep, it could have feathered out a little bit more, but that's pretty good. So that's really what we're up to. So if you do absolutely have to run into a concave center somewhere, a spot that's anywhere that's concave, but especially in the center, don't push your platform line way over to the side. Keep it actually pretty high, and maybe even favoring the other side. And then when I hit it, I'm not trying to drive that flake really far. I'm leaning this piece back just a little bit. Not enough like I'm trying to make a new platform, but I see I don't want to run it down into here. So it did the same thing there. We got a little piece. How it came in, it didn't quite catch this little lip that's here, but that's fine because we've got a lot of material still to work with. So now this one here, we can run this one a little bit further. And we did. It wasn't terribly impressive, but it went. There we go, a little better. And I'm gonna come in from the back. Couple light taps. Alright, so that cleaned up most of it. I'm going to put it over here and get it in that fan breeze. I'm going to braid it away from my face. All that obsidian dust. Like I said, I normally would ill-advise doing this in here. It's just a lot easier to teach in here where you guys can see what's going on, versus if I'm outside and it's spotty sunlight and all of that, you just can't see it. So usually if I'm doing big reduction work, I'm either doing it outside or I've got all the air systems in here running that's sucking air around. But all I've got right now is a fan because otherwise it's too noisy. Okay, so I'm still just kind of, I went back and I should have explained that, I guess, a little bit, but I just went back the same exact spot and I just removed another set of flakes, and that went and caught us right up with that section that's concave, and there's a little bit of concaveness right there. Concaveness, concavity, something like that. They all sound good. There's a low spot. There's a holler. There we go, catching that up. Should have abraded that edge a little bit better. Was being in a rush. There we go, caught it up anyway. Definitely copper on obsidian. I like to do a decent amount of abrading. Seems like every time I don't abrade, I get in a rush, it just collapses on me. But I think we're pretty good here. I got another little spot here. I think I'm going to go ahead and try to drive that in again towards that that depression. There we go. Alright, I feel pretty good about that face, at least for the moment. There's a couple little deep bites here along this edge, and we got kind of a lot of flat stuff. What we're probably going to end up having to do is coming up here along this edge, and we probably won't zigzag. I think what we're going to do is we're going to turn it up on end and braid that off. And I'm not looking for long flakes. I'm looking to basically get rid of this edge to make a steeper platform. And we might have one or two we can run a little bit further, like that one. I don't know. We'll see how it is as we go. This one here, if I hit that one, it's going to step fracture because it dips in right there. It gets concave. So we're going to come up a little higher. There we go. So now we just moved the platform over to that side. And this spot right here is a little tough. Because if we want to hit that, it's probably just going to stop and step fracture right here. So I'm not crazy about that, but I will put a little, no, I don't really want to hit it there. I'm going to move up to here, and not to drive this way because it's concave there. I'm going to move, and then I'm going to angle it. So I'm not hitting at this platform, I'm hitting up here. Okay, see that? See what I'm up to here? See how it's it starts getting concave, and then it's really concave here. I don't want to hit this platform. I want to turn it up, and I want to hit up here. Because up here, that's what's going to make our new platform. Come on now. There we go. So I can drive flakes this way. There. See what we're up to there? So if you want to go back, remember it looked like this. And then we turned it up, and it made platforms that we'll be able to run that direction. Now when I come down here, we do actually have a high enough spot. I can go ahead and take a little flake that terminates right down in. I don't want to take too big of a bite that step fractures. Clean that up just a little. Pretty decent. And I'm going to come do that one of them straight up and down jobs right there, because I'm making a new platform to remove this spot right here. Could have got a little better hit on it. There we go. Perfect. Ran right across that ridge. I'm going to step over, and I'm going to run right down that ridge too. That's a nice one. We'll save that flake too. That's a quite nice one. I'm going to zoom you guys in just a little bit more too. Hopefully I don't nap off camera too far. But I know you guys like to see up close what I'm up to. I just tend to move around an awful lot while I'm napping. Got my drink far enough away that all the dust is going that way. Alright, so we got a nice little biface going. Still have this ridge here that we can basically build the platform. I just want to make sure, is there anything else over here I really want to get rid of, and maybe just a tad bit. It's like a little bit of concavity still in here, and so I just want to run a couple little flakes. Nothing too aggressive that's going to step fracture. I just want to even that out. See, I didn't stop and abrade, and I kind of got a little step fracture. Nothing bad. We'll take that out easy enough, but just a reminder to me to stop being in such a rush. Alright. I'll take a couple more out of here just to continue to smooth that ridge out. So I should needed to get a good abrading away from the platform I want to hit, but that's just me being impatient. See, then when I do it right, I get a good purchase on that rock, and when I don't, I usually pay the price. And we're going to try one right here and catch in. That's that spot that was concave, and we're pretty well getting to a point where we're about making it convex. So that's good, looking good there. I kind of dove in a little bit deeper than I wanted to. So we took out that place that was concave, but then made another little one back here. So just very carefully approach that. Boy, really just don't like that angle. So if you don't like the angle, make a new one. Alright, just like that. Dug in a little too hard. I was a little worried about that. That's alright. We can still fix that. Oh, come on. Now that shouldn't have done that at all. That should have been fine. Now we're just going to make it worse. If you're going to do it, might as well just make it worse. Then we'll go back and fix it proper. That second one shouldn't have done that. Alright, not the end of the world. Alright, so now what we'll do is flop it over. Now it's very concave on this side. So short choppy flakes. We're not looking to run anything deep right now. Maybe one or two little ones, but nothing too aggressive, because it's like there's almost like a flute channel there. So we don't want to dig into that too hard. Good. We still have a lot of width to work with here, so that's why I'm not so worried about slowing down and not making too many mistakes. We still have a lot of mistake fixing real estate we can work with here. Clean this up. So that's where those little step fractures are that I just threw a mini fit about a second ago. We're going to go back and raise up the platform in the back. Actually, there's a good little opportunity to maybe run a... There it is, right there. That's what I wanted. A little high spot that was right there. Kind of knock that out, but what I'm doing is kind of creating a ridge that maybe I can run down and remove some thinning flakes from this side. In fact, I might need just a little bit more. Alright, now I like aggressively braid this off away from where I want to hit. And it's a little sketchy. It's kind of set up almost like you would if you were going to run like big, huge flute up this thing, but it dips down right here, so I'm not trying to run all the way across. What I'm really wanting to do is almost just run to center, and then I'll come in probably from this side and clean this up afterwards. But I don't want to be too aggressive with trying to remove one or two big. I'll try to take several out of here. I'm just kind of looking at it, deciding where I want to hit first. And that's pretty good. Did about what I was expecting it would do. Knew it would give me just a little bit of a hinge right there, but I'm not too worried about it. This I'm going to worry about later, because I'll get all this taken care of. I'm going to come back up, raise this platform, and try to run some good flake into here like that. Let's get this little high spot kind of removed. So most of that platform, say we could probably have braid heavy, but there is a little bit we can do some short choppy flakes. And we're getting a little bit closer now to the size that we're wanting for the tool, and so therefore I don't want to be reckless with reducing length at this point. We got a little bit of length that I'm willing to get rid of yet, but alright, see if we can't run a good one. That's what I was looking for. So I remember when I had it the other way and I was like, I want to hit it here and I want to get over and remove all that. Well, that's just what we did. Alright, so we knocked that off. And then this is where that trashy spots were that I was upset that I did. So I'm going to slowly work into those. I get about 1 or 2 more hits right there. There you go. Just about erased all of that one. And now I can come in from the back side. And now I can probably pop that off the rest of the way. Yeah, it's pretty good. And there's still just like a little bit more. I don't think I should push my luck because I think I'll step fracture it there. And I'll just pop up here. Clean that up just a little bit. Nothing aggressive. Kind of just flattening that out. Maybe 1 or 2 more. There we go. That's a good one. And I bet you 1 more right there. Maybe 2. Didn't want to go. There it is. Got it. Alright, so that's looking really nice on that face. Still got a little bit of high spot, but I would say I feel pretty good about this face. See, it's looking pretty flat. I think we got it. This is the side we still have that ridge. I'm going to study the piece just a second. Yep, we're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead. This platform's raised. I just want to kind of clean that a little bit. Not trying to remove like actual flakes on this side. Remember, little short choppy flakes to raise a platform. There is one little goofy spot right there. We'll fix that. Alright, we got that one. Now it does get concave in here, so I can't go whaling to try to drive a flake all the way across. I gotta just be gentle and patient with it. Okay, so we took it down a level. Now we got rid of the spot that was more concave. So now, pretty hard on that. Now I can probably take a pretty good hit out of it. There we go. That's much better. Here we go. That ran across pretty good. Alright, so this is all looking pretty good. We got a high spot here yet. And this side's nice. I just want to raise that platform up now. We got to try to get this ridge that's out of here. And the only way we're going to do that, sacrifice a little bit more width to raise a platform. Might as well, I don't need all that width in the back either. We might as well get rid of some of that. There we go. There we go. Now we're just working that platforms that we created and running them all the way across. Just a little flake. Kind of got a little bit of a goof right there, so we're going to jump up ahead, come the other way, see if it's a little cleaner. There. Should have a nice one right. Whoop, missed it. See if we can get it better. No, kind of messed it up on that first one, going fast. There we go. If I can get one more good one right there, that'd be nice. Ah! Come on. There it was. Alright. Wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good. Just a touch more in there. Kind of got an ugly spot going because of that one I missed. And it's not bad, it's just a little goofed up. Alright, we've really got it. At this point, we've got it bifaced nicely. I'll show you in a second. I'm just cleaning up last little bits here and there. So, still have a little bit of something here to get rid of, but overall, got a pretty nice little biface worked out. So, it's already pretty decently thin. But I think we're going to raise this platform's already kind of raised, and we'll dull it up a little bit actually, because a little bit of convexity in here. So we're going to get rid of that and then raise that platform, and probably just take this one last little spot out that I'm not loving. And get that little convexity out first. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to braid away from the direction I want to hit. Flip it over. There we go. Decent. Still something funny going on here. I wonder if it had a weak spot in the rock. I kind of got through it, but it just kept wanting to crumble right there. Could have been me though. Could have been the rock. There we go. Alright, getting a little bit, almost. I don't want to thin anymore back here. And then we got that spot right there, which I still don't love. There it was. That long flake. It was that ridge you had running right there. I did not like that spot. There you go. It was that ridge right there. I just did not like that. We are just able to tap it and remove that off. I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll finish this thing out. We'll take just a really quick break to mention, so when people ask where to get this stuff at, you can get rock and tools and combo kits, anything that you'd need for flint knapping at huntprimitive.com, which we'll put a link down in the description. And it doesn't matter if you get from us or you get from somewhere else. That doesn't really matter. What the really important thing is that you're putting your hands on some tools and on some rock, and you're getting to work making some stuff and having a ton of fun. Alright, I took a little break because I wanted to go find a little piece of wood to build what I had in mind. Just a little bit of a curvature, and I always go cut sparkleberry sticks and stuff like that. And I'm just kind of planning, so what I'll do is I'll end up cutting a groove into this. Just really wallowing out a nice groove at some point, and then I'll clean this edge up so it'll sit up in here nice, and then we'll dress this edge. And we'll have a really nice, like a really simple, like a handheld, great skinning ulu type of knife. So, just seems like a fun build to put together. So, I just wanted to use that as a mock-up if I had it, because then I can get my curvature a little bit closer. It's easier to move rock than it is wood. So, rather than run around and try to find the perfect piece of wood, I just wanted one that had a little bit of curvature. It's easier for me to remove the rock. So that's one of those little hints for early people as well. That's why when you look at the bases of certain points, like Daltons and stuff that have, you know, really concave or bifurcated bases, it's because it's easier to chip the wood out, or it's easier to chip the stone out of the base of the point than it is to remove that little peak of wood when you're trying to saw your notch. And we experience that quite often. So I just wanted to true this edge up. So I'm actually getting my hafted edge sorted out first. And really just battering it into shape, but of course I want a nice edge, because I don't want to deal with a whole bunch of nonsense while I'm trying to marry these two pieces together, which I got a lot of roundness, which actually doesn't hurt my feelings. because it's going to be easier as I go back and forth. And I was taking like a stone flake or whatever, and if I want to keep gouging this out, it'll get more gouged out in the center than it will the outside edges. So I don't mind it kind of feathering out a little bit. But that's looking pretty decent. And so because of that, I'm just going to take out any excessively high spots. That little edge needs to kind of go too. Any like platforms that stick out too far, because that's a pain in the butt trying to stick, and you want a really sharp knife edge to actually put up into the handle, because having to wallow out that much wood, number one, doesn't make as strong of a grip. It's just pitch holding it in at that point, where if you got a nice sharp knife edge, you can almost kind of wedge it up into the handle, and I found that with our other hafted knives as well. So these aren't something that I've ever made and offered to people through the website, but I'm kind of thinking about it now, especially, you know, this might be something we work with in the future on another bison hunt. I'm not sure yet. It's just another cool tool to use. We might try one or two out, see how it works. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'd like to take just there's a little bit of roundness, like a little bit of curvature to this whole blade, if you can kind of see it. It's very slight, and it's not the end of the world, but I wouldn't mind taking some of that out. Come on. There it is. There it is. Alright. So just trying to take that real rise out, which that helped a tremendous amount. And this is probably going to put us a lot closer. There it is. That was a good one. Oh, we got an ugly spot. That's alright. We'll catch it from this side. Getting that really sharp knife edge. I mean, we don't want it too sharp, obviously, to go up into that half, but since that half is so long, I mean, we're not going to be able to shear it off in that handle. I'm pretty certain of that. I actually feel pretty good about this. Got one spot here I'm not loving, and I can leave it there. It's just whenever I carve the stick, you can see there's like a little bit of a step fracture there. When I carve the stick, I'll have to just wallow out a spot for that to fit if I can't get it off, and it may not be worth the nonsense. But never mind, it just popped right off. Alright. I didn't think it was going to go. I thought it was going to make it worse. Alright. Well, I'll take it. Okay, I think we're good there. Oh yeah, that's good. See, I won't have to cut in terribly far. Less than halfway, and then that'll make a really nice mating surface. And if I still need to chip it down a little bit, I can, but I'd rather have the rock and not need it than need it and not have it. You know what I'm saying? So that's looking pretty good. Now I just want to match these two edges because I'm big on symmetry. So you can see we're wider here. So I'm gonna clean some of this up. There's a little bug flying around. I'm gonna clean this up, and then I'm gonna match this edge with this edge. I might even actually nip this corner a little bit, and then we'll clean that edge up. And then when that's cleaned up, then we'll be in a really good spot to put that together. Now, I probably, not in this video, not in the Flintknapping Friday, this little bug just flying around me, I'm not going to show hafting it. We've shown that kind of stuff in some other videos before, and that's why I'm not going to focus our time on that today. But it's like you literally take a burinated stone tool, or, I mean, I don't care if you use modern saw or whatever, I don't care what you do. You just gouge this thing out, and you're just going to make a channel. Here you go. I might as well show you this. There we go. So these are some of the new knives we're working on for one of the future projects. And I'm just going to grab like a random flake that I have here. So that's all that is right there. It's a gouge that's taken out. Now, of course, we would clean that edge up so it fits nicer. But then this isn't the ideal flake, obviously. But you fill this with pine pitch glue, and while it's hot, you sink it in. And that's essentially what we would be doing here, just on actually it's on this side. It would just be on, instead of a long handle like this, which isn't a bad idea. I mean, that's not too bad, except that that's a lot of working around. There's no support on that blade, so you are more likely to lose it. Where a blade this size, we're going to make it more of like that ulu, so you're going to hold it here while you skin. That makes sense. But it's keeping your hand off the edge of the blade. So you're just going to wallow that out like you do with that. And so it sits over top of it, and then we pine pitch it in. So that's we watched Clovis documentary. These are more refined than the ones we used in there. That's going to be on our next project. So little spoiler alert there. There's another project coming, but I guess it's never a spoiler because there's always a project going around here. So anyway, at least you know that we're still up to it. We're planning on doing more. So always working on the next piece. And it's not just, it's not just killing the bison or whatever. Remember, so much of what we do is the toolage to make the gear, tools for butchering. There's so much to it, to these projects. We try to really just squeeze and wring every bit of information and data out of every hunt we possibly can. But we're getting in there. That edge right there is looking really nice. So we'll probably keep that one as is, and now we're going to start catching this side up to get very, very similar. So I think I'm going to build my platform. I'd rather take material out of here than here. So I'd rather build a platform. Little choppy flakes. We've got one right there. I'd like to hit that one out of there. We'll see if it goes. That wasn't the one I was thinking about. Didn't really do what I wanted. Didn't make it bad, it just didn't make it any better. So see, I'm getting a little bit more crescent shaped. Alright, and we move that platform over. Pop. There we go. Don't be in a rush. Stop in a break. And right. That was what we wanted. One more here. Very nice. No sense in rushing this last finish on the blade. That was a good one. We needed that. And this one I don't want to run as far because it's going to hit some stuff here and stop. So a little shorter one, just like that. Come back. This is that spot that I wasn't loving that I wanted to take out. Made it worse. We'll be able to catch it now though, because I just had a good one right next to it. So might come in with indirect and just pop, 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 and then we'll clean that spot up. Otherwise, that's really about it there. I may change the back of this again, believe it or not, because you can see it comes to a point on this side, and then this side it's got some weird drop off, which, I mean, it's really nothing. It's like, would I rather make it really, or actually do I want to, I actually kind of like that. I may actually nip the tip off of this to match that side, believe that or not. See, I'm glad I kind of mocked it up first. I think that looks a little bit better. It's probably unnecessary anyway around. You could have just hafted it as it was, but that'll be pretty nice. I do want, there's a little bit of a thick spot I'd like to take out. Right there. We can flatten that just a little bit too, so we don't have to quite gouge that wood quite as far, but we definitely want a pretty good bite. We don't want that. We don't want this sticking in like a 1/16 of an inch. That's why I don't mind taking a little more out in the center, because it'll feather out when it sits in there. That'll be quite nice. So I got a little bit of work right here, and I want to clean that up. And then a little bit of that indirect work, but not much. It's almost all been percussion at this point. Symmetry's looking pretty good. We're almost there. Almost there, folks. I'm gonna grab my can that I use for indirect. I shouldn't need very much indirect work here, because we did a pretty darn good job. I just got this one ugly spot. You can see it right there. And it's not the end of the world. I would just, if I can get some flakes here, I can clean that up. We might still have a little crummy spot here, but I might be able to get in there with a little pressure flaker pick and just get that. But I'd rather say let's go over this edge one time. I'm going to clean my glasses up so I can see really what I'm seeing, or see what I'm looking at. And maybe we can knock just a couple good ones off here. Just dressing the edge. Almost even sharpening with the indirects here. We're running some nice long, like really long, beautiful flakes up into there, just very gently. See, on some of these knife tools, I actually like to sharpen even with just indirect, because it makes a nice crisp edge. Pretty hard to grind with indirect percussion. So flip that over. Got a good one right there. Oh yeah, that ran up really far. Be careful, just stab myself. Oh yeah. Now keep in mind when you were talking about the edge on this, I've got that little spot right there. I don't want to doll up too much. When you're talking about the edge, all right, we got that one. This one little spot I'm not loving. Like I said, I'm gonna actually make it. Well, shoot, I said I was gonna make it worse, and I wiped it out. I got one more little spot, and I'll be able to just grab that with a little pick and pull it. Anyway, what I was gonna say here is the edge that you're running on a tool like this, we don't want to heavily serrate it like I do, you know, like our arrowheads, the Scary Sharp arrowheads, because all those little needle sharp serrations, that's a different edge than we want for that work. Because what'll happen is, if you're skinning stuff off, you'll end up nipping all those little edges off, which normally I wouldn't care, except that if we're working on something and we're skinning it to eat it, you don't really want all those little flakes popping off in your meat. It's never really been a problem for us per se, but I also don't sharpen like that on these blades, especially not anymore. Let me get this pick and get that little piece off. Otherwise, it's really, really nice. It's a nice blade. Use the micro flaker to... There we go. That was nice. And we're getting a couple more. Just cleaning that up. So we're able to, instead of having to remove here, you can reach up underneath it, grab onto these little step fractures, and pop them right off. There we go. Yeah, we cleaned that right up. Okay, so now the edge, because that's the last step, and then I'm gonna cut a groove in that, and I'll show you all a picture of it. I guess, yeah, you'll see it before we even get started. You have already seen it finished out, because I'll show it when it's already finished. let's go ahead and work that edge, which a lot of times I probably wouldn't sharpen it anyway until it was actually hafted, but just because we're here and I don't mind working it sharpened, I'm still going to remove like a section of flakes, and I want them to be one-click flakes. It's not grinding dulls. So one click all the way down, but I'm not, so I mean there is some level of serrations, right? There always has to be when you're removing. Let me do half of it and then I'll try to show you, at least up close. Okay, so we did about half of it. Okay, so you can see here it's a little bit more serrated where this is just dull. But I don't want to go back and develop, like this is fine. You're not going to break these off. And if you do, they're so micro, it's not going to hurt anything. I mean, there's always, if you hit bone, you're going to knock stuff off anyway. But really these edges are going to get glazed up with connective tissue and membrane and stuff. So it's perfectly fine to have a little bit of serration. We just don't want those really defined needle sharp tips like we do in the arrowheads. So really it's more of like a single bevel style of sharpening. And it's not that I'm necessarily trying to bevel it, because I'm not. Because even when I sharpen it next time, I'm going to turn the blade over, I'm going to look, and I'm going to say, okay, which side was it sharpened last time? And then I'm going to sharpen it the other way. But I don't need to go back, and I don't need to remove many flakes. We'll probably do a couple to clean up. But I'm not specifically going back and then developing those serrations. When I come back, I'm just going to look for one or two spots that actually have platforms that are sticking out, because those platforms are going to slow down some of our cutting value. Actually, I don't think we have hardly any left. I think we got them all. One teeny tiny one right there. If you have platforms that stick out too far, then that's kind of taking away from the sharpness of the blade, because you have something that's interference on the side. But that's really quite a nice little edge, right? So that's pretty good, and that's a nice sharp edge. It's not crazy like as far as the tips that are going to break off. If I gouged me, boy, I'd cut myself wide open with it. That's exactly what we're looking for, is that. And I'm going to dull up the back, because that doesn't need to be knife sharp. And I think we're done. I'm going to just line it up one more time. It's got that one side here that's kind of nipped, and I actually like that. I'm trying to see what I need to do to actually copy it on the other side, if I need to, which I really don't. I don't know, I kind of want to. I like symmetry. So let's do that real quick. I just like symmetry. That's it, right there. Yep, that's it. That's all it took. Woo, got a little sharp piece in my foot. Holy smokes, that was sharp. It was jabbing me. So that's what we're going to be looking like right there. We just got to wallow this out and set it in. I'll debark it, and I'll round those edges up a little bit just so it's pretty, and then I'm going to glue it in there with pine pitch glue. That's going to be it. It's going to be done. So that was kind of a fun little Obsidian Ulu project. So thanks for following along. We'll catch you on the next Flintknapping Friday.